शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So in this material world, the world that we live in, there is always a beginning and an end. Beginning is where there is creation, and is where whatever we have created, we forget about it because now we need to be creative in another way. So when we forget about it, that which is created has come to an end. So this is called as Adi Anta. Alright? So the material world is defined by the adjective Adyanta. In the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord Krishna, he explains to Arjuna, Adyantavanta Kaunteya Nateshu Ramate Buddha. Anyone here wants to be stupid in life? Anyone wants to be stupid? Okay. Anyone wants to be intelligent in life? So who wants to be stupid in life? Please raise up your hands. No. Why should we be stupid in life? We got a wonderful gift from God, which is called as intelligence, which helps us realize our potential. Hence, we would want to be intelligent in life. So, how many of us want to be intelligent in life? Please raise up your hands. Intelligent. We want to be intelligent, right? The reason is we want to be happy. If we use our intelligence, then we find so many ways to be happy. Isn't it? Sometimes we are happy when we install Facebook on our phones, and sometimes we are happy when we delete it. Now to install it, we need to know how to install it. And to delete it, we need to know how to delete it. That is intelligence. To be a functional human being, one has to use one's intelligence. However, when one tries to get the utmost potential from one's intelligence, then one becomes focused on that vision in life. One invests all of our time and energy towards that vision. Hence, to others, it appears as if we are completely dedicated, and it appears as if we are enjoying the process because we put in our dedication. So unless until you like the process, how can you be dedicated to the process? So that is called as Ramate, Ramana. To have dedication and hence a liking for the process. So the intelligent people, according to Shri Krishna, they do not invest their time and energy in anything that is adyanta. Why? Because you invest so much time in creation, and after some time You're no longer interested in it. You want to go one level higher. So they do what they have to do. However, they do not invest themselves in it. What is their investment in? In that which is eternal. That which can be beyond time, which can be beyond duality. So adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Oh Arjuna, you should be like those wonderful people who are buddha, who are intelligent. To help us make this journey in life, sometimes we need someone who's exceptionally good at it, like really good at it. When within this creation, there is none that can exhibit this exceptional quality at being too good at it, too good at the journey of life. That is the time the Supreme Lord descends into this world. And he becomes a trailblazer. Everyone knows what's a trailblazer? He kind of brings out so many wonderful principles through his own life, through his own life activity, that we always try and remember the principles that he exhibits in his lifetime. And we try to make that our morals in life. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? Okay, for the adults here, how many of you are good with Hindi? Please raise up your hands. I mean, you can understand it. So what I spoke in English, and if I have to repeat that in Hindi, तो भगवान यहाँ पर अवतरित होकर एक आदर्श स्थापित करते हैं जो आने वाली सारी पीढ़ियों के लिए आदर्श बन जाता है. That's correct? At least, because we accept the Vedas, we accept the Vedic culture, that is what we believe in, isn't it? Right? Kamsa Chanuramarganam Devaki Sutam Krishna Vande Jagatguru. Devaki Sutam Devam Krishna Vande Jagatguru. This prayer simply means that you show us the way that keeps us enlightened. It gives us hope in life because you show us the way. So one of the very prominent examples or historical references of the Supreme Lord appearing and setting example in human society is when he appears as Lord Ramachandra. Have you heard of Lord Ramachandra? How many of you have heard of Lord Ramachandra? Please raise up your hands. Yeah, so you know what I'm doing? I'm trying to help you practice a very passive way of Anulom Vilom. Otherwise, you'll have to follow some of the yoga gurus. You raise up your hands, your chest expands. Your chest expands, you can take in deep breaths. When you take in deep breaths, you get more oxygen supply. You have more oxygen supply, your entire body is happy. Your entire body is happy, you are awake in class. Yes? I'm just going to do more research on this thesis and most probably apply for the Nobel Prize. So Lord Ram, Ramachandra Bhagavan ki Jai. Lord Ram appears. And his wonderful activities have been chronicled in this great epic, the great Kavya, this great expansive book called as the Ramayana. What is it called as? Ramayana. What is it called as? Ramayana. Why don't we call it as the Ramayana? Because we do call it as the Ramayana also. But the idea of calling it as the Ramayana is because it simply glorifies Sita more than Lord Ram. How does it glorify Sita? Well, if it were not for Sita, then anyone would have written down the Ramayana. Isn't it? So she is the heroine of this entire literature. The supreme goddess, Mother Sita. So according to the Ramayana, after the beautiful ceremony where Lord Ram was married to Sita, his brothers also got married to the sisters of Sita. They spent some time in Ayodhya, and then the stock market crashes. Dashrath Maharaj has a heart attack. Why did the stock market crash? Because the founders no longer had any say in the kingdom. Dashrath Maharaj no longer had any say in the kingdom. He is a founder. Who was having a say in the kingdom? An outlier. Somebody no one had paid any attention to. Someone who wanted to crash the entire market. That was a lady who had come along with Kaikeyi, the queen of Ayodhya. Her name is Manthara. Manthara, she gave her own view of what is the valuation of the stocks. What is the value of the kingdom? Who should it belong to? So she gave her own viewpoint. And Dashrath Maharaj had to accept that. However, he couldn't do it explicitly. Because he was very well aware that how could the market survive. He knew that the entire country and its people, they all loved Ram. So unless and until he introduced Ram into the market, the stocks wouldn't survive. So the challenge was Kaikeyi, who was being advised by Manthara, a very close confidant of Kaikeyi, someone that Kaikeyi really paid attention to. because she had always been her well-wisher. So what did Manthara do? Through Kaikeyi, she introduced a new product into the market. Bharat. The market could not sustain, the market couldn't accept the idea of Bharat. It was too new. It was completely unheard of. So the brand of Ram could not be introduced in Ayodhya, and the new product Bharat was not acceptable. So Ayodhya was in a crisis. Now the name of Ayodhya is very special. It means that city never has a crisis. Just right? Do you think our world will ever have a crisis? Seems difficult. I mean, yeah, we could be pessimistic and always be negative, like, oh, nothing is going well in my life. But whenever we are by ourselves, we are always having plans of how things can go so well in our lives. So we are, when we are just by ourselves, we are always optimistic. Typically, generally, unless until there is an organic disease. And the mind becomes very much inflected by certain causes. Other than that, generally we are very optimistic. But sometimes it just helps our image when we try to be pessimistic in society. At least it appears like that. You ask anyone, especially somebody who is very well known to you, how's life? Now again in Hindi, अरे क्या बताएं आपको? I mean, where do I even begin? My child at home doesn't let me sleep. I do not have a moment of peace. My work, I don't know why I even wanted to take up a different position. Sometimes it is just the reason, I mean, I don't even know why I got married.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes. That's all right. Let him be. It's okay.
Yeah, sit down.
Oh, well. You like sitting here?
Yes.
Good.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Good.
Hare Krishna.
Is it all right? Can I continue?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So, we like to present the idea that we have a lot of problems in life. Because attention seeking. Who doesn't like attention in life? I mean, if we were not attention seeking, then we would be completely self-composed sages. Isn't it? We could either have been like Sant Raidas, Nanak Ji, Mirabai. We could have been someone like that. Totally composed. But we need attention in life, isn't it? Oh, I sent a message on WhatsApp and you did not even reply back. At least I posted something on Facebook, some likes. It's like somebody stands up for election and even they don't get their own vote. It's attention seeking. The reason we seek attention is because we feel incomplete within ourselves. We don't like the idea of being incomplete in ourselves. We imagine a world that should be, everything should work perfectly, things should go according to our plans, everyone should understand what our vision is. We have our own Ayodhyas. The undefeatable kingdom. Everyone has a picture perfect version of their own world. And if this world doesn't satisfy one, then one starts imagining something of the other world. Oh, Krishna will appear in my dream. He'll come and play the flute for me. He'll eat out of my hands. If no one here gives us attention, Krishna will give us attention. We need it. Because although we would want the world that we live in to be completely very free, it's just crisis ridden. So that is what happened to Ayodhya. Severe crisis. Ramachandra Bhagwan along with Mother Sita, they both had to go to the forest. Which basically meant no credit card, no access to social media. They couldn't even have a cooking range. So everything that they had been trained in to live life by, they had to give up. Just imagine, you've trained yourself to be a lawyer or a doctor and suddenly the government decides these occupations are no longer relevant enough. What are you going to do? That is Vanvas. That is the Vanvas of Lord Ramachandra, that is the Vanvas of Mother Sita. They had absolutely no idea what they would be doing. However, they are so carefree, they're like, we'll figure out. And the younger one, Lakshman, says, I'll tag along. I'll be with you. His good wife, Urmila, says, I'll stay back. Someone has to take care of the mothers here. You take. Your responsibility is to look towards the comfort of the older brother and the sister-in-law. And as your better half, I will take care of the mothers and father too, Dashrath Maharaj, because Dashrath Maharaj was still alive at that point of time. So they go to the forest and they have to spend their time in the forest for a total of 14 years, each year 365 days, each day of 24 hours. Just imagine a single day where we can no longer use the language that we speak. We can no longer cook the food that we know how to cook, and we cannot buy food that we are used to eating. We cannot connect with people that we know. Living a day like that, it would be like spending one day at the Vipassana center with Mauna Vrat. You know, such centers exist. 10 days you get enrolled and they completely expect you to be identityless. You have no identity except that you breathe. That's it. That was the future that Lord Ram and Sita along with Lakshmana were looking forward to. They had to go to a new country. They had to get used to the food and the water and all the resources that was there in the new. They had to figure out whether eating a berry would be healthy or it could be poisonous. Because they could not go on Google click the photo and find out what species. He couldn't do that. So how does Vanvas sound now? Maybe sometimes Vanvas or this 14 years of exile, it seems to be a little romantic, isn't it? Very difficult period. There has been no one in the entire history of human population that has gone through such a rigorous life, even for a month. None in the entire history has done that. And therefore Ramachandra, Mother Sita, their 14 years of exile is popular, is so respected. Because not only did they find out a way to survive, exist, but they actually became trendsetters. Right from making a parnaguti to foraging. They were members of the royal family. They did it. However, the assault of miseries did not stop there. Sita got kidnapped. And the person who kidnapped her was such a coward. I mean, he had graduated out of the best colleges in the entire universe. And he had so many doctorates to his name. Physically, he had transformed himself to be a super Iron Man. Iron Man? Right? Very powerful. Like Captain America. 10 times over. That is Ravan. Ravan had powers like Captain America, the shield. Nothing could break his shield. Ravan's prowess was such that no one could win with him in contest, physical contest, physical strength. Very powerful. Still, that person was such a coward. There has never been anyone more cowardly than Ravan. He couldn't come up to Sita and say that, my dear lady, I'm interested in you. He knew that he would face the biggest insult of his life. This was a simple lady living in the forest, and he had been to the biggest, the most popular destinations in the world. You name it. He had been to all the Floridas and the Californias, all the Hawaiis. And they had given him special membership to all of these destinations. He had the golden membership for all of these destinations, Ravan. And he was worshipped there. People they would completely throw themselves at him, wanting to please him. And this person was such a coward, such a coward, that he couldn't approach Sita directly and say, I am interested in you, so can we go on a date? Can I have a date? He couldn't do that because he knew that not only would Sita say no, but that no would completely burn his existence. So what did he do? He cheated. And he kidnapped Sita. He never realized that Sita would be the very cause of his. Sometimes you have your bowel does not really function well. It is called irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. No one figures out why it is functioning like that. He never realized that Sita would be the cause of that for him. He did not just get an irritable bowel syndrome, he had an irritable mind syndrome, mental syndrome. He could neither sleep, he could neither have fun for an entire year, 11 months. Of the entire year that he kidnapped Sita, for 11 months, he was practically so unhappy in life. He had never ever been so unhappy in life. Nothing interested him except the fact that Sita should accept me. Did not happen. In the meanwhile, Lord Ram, he said, hey, if a member of your family, if somebody you know, your friend, or even if you don't know them, if they are not known to you, but you hear of them being good people, if they are in a situation where they need help, you have to rise up to the occasion. And for you to rise up to the occasion, you need to be capable of doing that. You need to have that capacity. You need to have those qualities. So hence, why is Lord Ramchandra called as Maryada Purushottam? What does Maryada mean? Maryada simply does not mean limits. Maryada also means, have you heard the term Ghar ki Maryada? What does that mean? Here it won't, is that हमारे घर की मर्यादा ये है. Does it mean limitations or does it mean or principles? Principles, right? So Lord Ram is the very embodiment of all principles that are healthy for a human being. And because these are principles that are healthy, they are very helpful for human existence. So hence, if we try and meditate on the qualities of Lord Ram and want to imbibe those qualities within our lives, then our lives could be much, much better than where we are right now. So Lord Ram is not just, yes, she is his wife, so obviously there is a certain responsibility that a husband has towards a wife and a wife has towards a husband. That's the sacred contract of marriage. But it is not just about you having some relationships and that is the only reason why you would want to go beyond your comfort zone. It is not just that. Because Lord Ram went beyond his comfort zone just to help out Sugriv. Did he know that he was going to ask Sugriv to help him out? No. At the point where he helped Sugriv out, he did not even have any idea of who Sugriv is. But he went out of his way to help. So Lord Ram shows that as a human, one must trust our ability to go beyond our comfort zone and lend a helping hand. But when we lend a helping hand, we should also be capable of facing any challenges that come, whether it is Kabandha. These names sound familiar? I'm just throwing out these names because I don't have the time to explain the entire Ramayana right now. So Ram and Lakshman, they want to help, lend out a helping hand, but they are not blind. Kabandha sent out a challenge and they were prepared for it. It was an unexpected challenge. Kabandha, the person that had hands that were so long, that once somebody was in that person's grip, they could not escape. Hence his name is Kabandha. Bandha means capture. Anyways, if you know about it, good. If you don't know about it, go back to the Ramayana and read about Kabandha. So Lord Ram exhibits all the potential that a human being has, not just to achieve one's own personal goals, but also, whenever possible, lend a helping hand to others to achieving their goals and accepting their help in return. So Lord Ram decided, he had this entire army of Sugriv's community, Sugriv and Vali's community, their entire army, huge army, undefeated army, an army that could go into any challenge and they would not even suffer, not even a single person would be harmed. That kind of, you call it Superman. That was the kind of army that he had. On the other side was the army of Ravana. Technologically, they were so astute. Indrajit, he had his tech games. Ravana had his own. Then there was Somali, Mali, Malyavan, Khara, Dushan, Del, Trish, so many of them. All expert at what? At tech games. What is technology? Technology is something that helps you create things at your fingertips. Is that correct? That's tech, isn't it? That is what Ravana's army was capable of. At their fingertips, they could have their weapons ready. Powerful. And what does Sugriv's army have? Just their physical form. Therefore, they fought with boulders, they fought with trees, the other army was fighting with missiles, the iron domes, what is that? All of that. That is what the other army had. They fought a battle. They could have easily, there could have been truce. But Ravana rejected it. What are the conditions of the truce? Just that Sita be free. But Ramchandra wasn't even saying that return back Sita to me. He said, let Sita be free. Honor her existence as a human being. And Ravana is no. Only existence anyone has in this world is be my slave. Sita is my slave. And Ram says, no, because after the entire war was fought, Lord Ram has such respect for Sita. He said, all right, you are my wife, but before that, you are a human being. I'm your husband. Doesn't mean that I own you. What is it that you want now in life? It's your decision. It's not easy to let people have their independence. Is it easy? I mean, when they're children, you need to protect them, so you kind of supervise their independence. But many a times, even when we are dealing with adults, we don't like them to be independent. Do we like them to be independent? Because many a times, independence could mean competition. And sometimes competition makes us insecure. So then we start critical thinking. What kind of critical thinking? That kind of critical thinking where we want to criticize someone. Why? Because we don't like them functioning independently. It seems they could hurt us. So our world becomes just a small world. We forget that there are the oceans, we forget that there are islands, we forget there is space, there is so much exploration, just a small world. And we become very much insecure with that small world. That is Ravana. He had the entire universe to enjoy, but he got stuck on Sita. He became so insecure about that. A challenge for him. So Sita has been through a lot. The entire extended family and the citizens of Lanka have also faced. There has been so many tragedies in their life since the war. But that was their choice. None of them felt that Ravana was in the wrong. Except a few of them. Maybe his grandfather, Malyavan, he told him. Maybe his brother, the youngest one, Vibhishan, definitely advised him. The middle of the brothers, the younger, was younger to Ravana, Kumbhakarna, he also advised him that you have the entire universe. Just broaden your horizon. But no, he's like, I want to just only on Sita. Because she is not becoming my slave. So he employed people to brainwash Sita, torture her. If she would feel tired, she never felt tired, but Ravana was thinking that if she feel tired, I would have people shout in her ears so that she couldn't sleep well. If she would be hungry, I would have people torture her so that she could not eat well. I would make it so miserable for her that ultimately she would be so helpless that she would say, yes, Ravan, I now realize that I made a mistake. I just surrender unto you. Ravan is a Pandit. As I said, he's got degrees from so many well-known universities of the universe. He knows psychological games and how to play them very well. With Sita, everything failed. She would just not give in. And Ravana was thinking that, is she really made up of flesh or blood, or is this some new element on the periodic table that has not been discovered? What is she made up of? Because he knew the periodic table so well. He knew how elements behave, how they can be manipulated. But in Sita's case, it would not work. The very substance of what was her existence was completely unknown to Ravan. He couldn't find that element to be existent in the universe that he knew. That is Sita. This is much beyond our conception. Human conception. This is much beyond the reach of all of our instruments. Therefore, we call her the goddess of fortune, Mahalakshmi. So these Rakshasas, they were employed by Ravana. In fact, when nothing else worked, Ravana tried his last ploy. I give you just, sometimes it said a month, because for 11 months he just was trying different means, and then at that moment he told her, just one more month. Within this month, if you don't change your mind, then I'll have my cooks cut you up, cook you, and I'll eat you. So if you cannot be a conscious slave of me, then I assimilate you within myself. Now we understand what is lust. A desire to be so possessive that we want the object that we are so possessive about. We identify it with that as I myself. We can never see that object separate from ourselves. That distinction is lost. It becomes a part of me because I am so possessive. That is love. Lust personified. If you do not accept my proposal, can you imagine anyone coming up with an idea like that? Hence, there has been no one like Ravana ever after that. There have been little Ravanas, but no one has that kind of capacity. I'll cook you up and eat you. I'll tell my cooks to cut you up, cook you, and I'll eat you. Something really went wrong. In the laboratory, something really went wrong with Ravana. He became the Frankenstein of the wonderful Vishrava family. His father was such a kind-hearted person. His mother exceptionally good. Something happened. Someone introduced some virus into him somewhere. Frankenstein. You know what is Frankenstein? Everyone knows. That is Ravana. The war was fought. Everyone that was trying to prop up Ravana, because they had their own self-interests to be fulfilled, they wanted to prop up Ravana. Everyone was defeated and destroyed, including Ravana. Who became victorious? Hanumanji. Who became victorious? Hanumanji, because Lord Ram said, if you hadn't given me your shoulder, what could he do? So after the war was over and Sugriva, Lakshman, they were giving the updates to Lord Ram. So Lord Ram said, all right, so Ravana is no longer there, so Lanka does not have a king. This is not very good. The citizens need a good king. So immediately call for Vibhishan. And he said, install him as a king. Coronate him as a king. So Vibhishan was made the king of Lanka. And once Vibhishan was coronated as a king and he took over the duties and the responsibilities of the king of Lanka, Lord Ramchandra told Hanuman, now go back to Lanka. Because the war was happening. See, Lord Ramchandra had taken Vanvas. According to those norms, he could not put a foot inside any city limits or town limits. So he couldn't enter Lanka. And Sita was in Lanka. So the war was fought outside the city of Lanka, on the ocean shore. another barren territory, which is considered to be outside of city limits. So it is forest. Tribal land, forest. So that is where the war was fought. So Hanumanji is called upon by Lord Ram, and Lord Ram says, "Hey Hanumanta, please go to my Sita and tell her that Ravana is dead. You are free. Give up your anxiety. There's no longer any danger lurking around you." And give her the details of how, all of her soldiers, because this was Sita's army, they're fighting on behalf of Sita. Let her know how her army fared very well. Give her the details. Let her feel some pride in those who have dedicated their lives to her. So Lord Ram sent Hanuman. Hanumanji goes to Sita. And he gives her so eloquently, he describes the wonderful glory that everyone had achieved on behalf of Sita. Like she was the queen regent, and the entire army, everyone that was known to her or knew about her, they just had dedicated themselves to her. That is how Hanumanji presented the results of the war to Sita. And Sita was quiet. She did not even give no expression from Sita. So Hanumanji, who was such a Pandit, Hanumanji was the first person who understood who Ram and Lakshmana are, because he could see the psychological signs that are there. I won't say psychological, but it is known as the Lakshanas. Could see from the Lakshanas that these are divine personalities. This is my Supreme Lord. Hanumanji was very sharp. He could not decipher what Sita was going through. And if Hanumanji could not decipher that, how amazing must Sita be? Because in our culture, we worship Hanumanji to bless us with supreme intelligence. And his supreme intelligence could not figure out what is going through Sita's mind. And these are one of those moments where Hanumanji is totally confused. That has never happened. Very rare. He doesn't know what to do. And therefore he asks her, "Are you not happy? That Lord Ram is just waiting for you. And the war is over and there's nothing stopping you. You're no longer bound. You're no longer being held against your will. All the emotions that you had for Lord Ramchandra, all the prayers that you offered, all your remembrances, now you can express all of that freely." And Sita was just quiet. So Hanumanji asked her, "Are you not happy?" And Sita, she said, "Hanuman, the happiness that you have brought unto me is so immense, it is so great, it is so deep, that I am left speechless and stunned, wondering how do I repay you back. I do not find any means of repaying you back. Should I give you the proprietorship of the entire universe? Because I am Durga, I can do that. But that is worthless. It is worthless as a reciprocation to the wonderful news that you have brought unto me. Shall I hand over unto you all the jewels of the entire world? But they are just pebbles, worthless. I'm not able to repay you, Hanuman. Hence, I'm quiet. However, your eloquence, and then Sita describes so many wonderful qualities that a person with such eloquence should have. And Hanumanji hears his glorification from the mouth of his most dear mother. Hanumanji is having the time of his life. He says, my dear mother, just you showering so many praises of me is worth 100 of lifetimes of having all the jewels in the world, having all the proprietorship of the world. Just you, your kindness. And when Hanumanji is feeling so emotional about his mother, he remembers the time when he jumped across the ocean trying to find where Sita is, and he found her. What did he see? He saw how all the Rakshasis were torturing her. And Hanumanji, he became Rudravatar. He became so very, very concerned about, he had such emotions rising within him. They tortured my mother. At that point of time, I was thinking about Lord Ram. I have to go back to Lord Ram. And all I did was burn up Lanka. Now I don't have to go back to Lord Ram because he's here. So I need to burn up someone or do something more than that. I have seen with my very eyes how she was being tortured. No one has seen that. That is a fact. Even Lord Ramchandra never saw how Sita was being tortured. Lakshman never saw it. Only Hanuman. And someone who has that capacity to be able to focus on one's goal in life despite so many emotions rising within oneself is called as Mahavir. Bajrangbali. That is his strength. Hanumanji's strength. He said, Mother, please give me permission. She said, what permission? I want to do something with all of these Rakshasas. And this is a very interesting part of the Ramayana, where you see Hanumanji expressing emotions which are the darkest of emotions that you and me as humans may have. He is representing us. That's not Hanuman. But he's showing us what are the dark spaces that we can go to in our lives when we feel wronged. He says, I feel like scratching their eyes out. I feel like hitting them so hard on that, turn their heads into pulp. I want to just throw them here and there. I mean, really, when you have all those healthy, unhealthy emotions within you. That is what Hanumanji is trying to present here. Because he says that there are what he's representing is the frailty of human existence. There are going to be moments in our life where we'll not be able to hold on to our sanity. We will become insane, mad with rage, with anger, with wanting to hurt others. Just prejudice, just hate because of that. So when he says that, how does Sita respond? It's interesting what this lady can do. No wonder she is worshipable. So in the Ramayana, the great poet Valmiki Muni, he has beautifully expressed it through his words. He says, Bhagya Vaishamya Yogena Puratushcharitena cha Mayete Prapyate Sarvam Swakritam Yupabhujyate. Sita says, Maya etat prapyate sarvam. All the difficulties that I have faced in my life, and has she faced these difficulties in her life? My God. Terrible. Terrible difficulties. And she is not even anywhere, but she's really suffered a lot. And she says, Maya etat prapyate sarvam. I must be responsible for getting all of those sufferings in my life. I must be responsible for that. What must I have done? Dushcharitena cha. I must have behaved in a very, very wrong manner in the past lives, this life in the past. There's no other reason why I went through so many sufferings. It is because of my own wrong doings. And I may have forgotten my wrongdoings, but Bhagya never forget it. And therefore, Bhagya Vaishamya Yogena. It is by the Bhagya is a conduit. Bhagya means what you are destined to have. It is not just destiny. I'm not saying Bhagya is destiny. What I'm saying is what you're destined to have. Why? Because that is what you did to receive that. So basically, we get to be the makers of our destiny every moment. So destiny is not abstract. It is just a living reflection of our own actions in the past. That is what we are destined to get. And she says, I was destined to get that. And hence I got it. Therefore, Purastat Sakritam, it would be much more easier, it would be much more beneficial for me to just accept what has happened. I cannot change it anymore. I can't change what has happened to me. So should I live with the scars of that throughout life? I decide not to do that. What I have received was because of actions that I performed in the past. Maybe I did it knowingly or unknowingly. That has been done with. It cannot be changed anymore. What I will do now and thus what will create my future, I decide not to live with scars. I decide not to play or to consider oneself to the victim anymore. Previously, yes, because I was in bondage. Now I'm free. Once I am free, Ravana is no longer there. So freedom should not just be freedom from external bindings. Internally, our consciousness, what we are holding on to in terms of pain, hurt, negativity. Sita says, I want to give it up. I will not hold on to it. The law will take care of it. I'm not the lawmaker. So the law will take care of it. And by law, these Rakshasas were simply following the instructions of their king. If they would not follow the instructions, the king would torture them. So by law, they cannot be held responsible for working under the authority. The authority is responsible for that. Ravana is responsible for whatever atrocities he did with me. The Rakshasas cannot be held responsible for that. They were simply instruments in the hands of Ravana. And now because Ravana is no longer there, I tell you, they will no longer torture me. She is saying that they have a chance. She is not being secular here. Sometimes we try to be secular like that. Trying to be good. We oversee people's lackings. We oversee their shortcomings. It's okay. They may not be up to the mark, but we should tolerate, we should be patient. We try to be secular like that. In fact, many times that could be harmful to one and harmful to them too. What Sita is saying, their potential. She's saying that yes, they can follow orders properly. Under Ravana, they did their best to follow the orders. Now, when Ravana is no longer there and it is Vibhishan, what instruction Vibhishan will give, they will follow it properly. And hence they have a chance. Now you see the difference between our idea of secularism and Mother Sita's understanding of how to see good in people. To see good in people, you do not have to be in your own imaginative world. No, everyone is good. You should try to see good in people. That's very abstract. If you're not able to see potential in people, don't take up the responsibility of giving them the certificate of being good. Because once you give them a certificate, they're qualified now. They'll quote you. They'll say, do you think I am a really bad person? Ask this person. They'll quote you. They'll want you to be the witness to their goodness because you have certified them. So rather than just blindly saying that people are good, try to do a little shram. Do an exercise of seeing what they are good at and throw light on it. That is real humanity. Not the so-called secularism that most of us want to live under. Real humanity is to help people achieve their potential, not just give them dreams that neither you can achieve nor they can achieve. That is Sanskriti, that is the Ramayana, that is what we have. For up until the age of 15 years, it is a story for you. Beyond 15 years, it is the book on which you can, every single year of your life, you can do a thesis on, analyze it in every particular way based on your experiences in life. Therefore, our belief as followers of the Vedic principles, our belief is that the Ramayana has everything that we would need as humans to live a healthy life. What does that mean? It means it gives you every possible way to analyze your own life and see your own potential and do your best. So just don't let it be catchy phrases that you refer to. Just don't let it be simply prayers that we recite with very little meaning to it. Reflect on the Ramayana. So Sita said that. She said, and then Sita, she told Hanumanji a story that Hanumanji could relate to. So Hanumanji is from the Vanara community, which is related to the Manav community, to the human species. But it also is related to the Prani community, the animal species. So she told Hanuman a story of a bear and a lion and a human. She told him once upon a time, a man was being chased by a lion who wanted to eat up the man. So somehow or the other, he kind of just stayed out of the reach of the lion, but he realized very soon he was going to be caught up by the lion. So he found a tree and climbed up the tree. The lion could not climb up the tree. But the lion saw that there was a bear sleeping on a branch of the tree. And the man was just under that branch, on another branch. So the lion called out to the bear, "Hey bear, we are both from the same community. Human is a different community. And we know how dangerous these humans are. This is our moment. Push down this human. I'm hungry, I need to eat something. So we should be friends." The bear said no. Said, "I won't do it." He went off to sleep. The lion was really feeling hungry. So the lion looked up to the man and he said, "I'm not going to let you go. I'll just sit here till the time, and you cannot stay on the tree for long. I'll just wait here till the time you just fall off the tree or you have to come down. You'll become so weak that you'll fall off the tree, and I can wait." The man got really scared. So then the bear gave the man a proposal. The lion gave the man a proposal. The lion told the man, "Well, I will let you survive, but I have to eat. Why don't you push the bear down?" So out of whatever insecurity the man was going through, the man tried to push the bear down. The bear is bulky. So the bear woke up. He saw the man was trying to push him down. The bear simply climbed higher. The lion goes, "You see how untrusty this man is, and you're trying to protect this man. Why are you doing that?" And the bear, he instructs the lion about Sant Charitra. What are the qualities of a Santa? You know what is a Santa? A Santa is someone who exists in Sat, in goodness. But we have kind of only relegated a sant to be a saintly person, and therefore saintly persons are so wonderful. We can never become a saint. So here Santa Charitra is about being a good person. So a Santa is somebody who has a higher goal in life, a goal that is based on the quality of goodness, has a superior vision, and therefore such a person, this is the bear telling the lion, he says such a person does not take into account an offense that is committed by another being out of weakness. The Santa Charitra, the nature of a person whose situated in goodness. The nature of that person is not to criticize a person for the weakness that the person has, but to be supportive in ways that the person can grow out of that weakness. And from that point of view, each one of you who is an adult has done it exceptionally well while raising up children. You went through so much perseverance trying to help your child grow out of its weaknesses. Grow up. Now, if only we could always cling on to this capability that we have and never give up that capability. A good parent, which each one of us has been at different times of our life, does not criticize. Does critical thinking but does not criticize. Tries to help the person overcome the weakness. Tries to help the child overcome the weakness. And if we can bring ourselves to always have interpersonal dealings as adults, with that principle in mind, life would be much more easier for us. We are not trying to make this world a very good place now. It just makes life very easy for us. It keeps us always focused on being productive in life and always looking for ways how interactions can be productive. So Sita, she convinced Hanuman that whatever has happened to me is because of my own. Those are my issues. I don't want someone to make them the issues of the entire society. I don't want society to be held responsible for my issues. I have to learn to deal with them. And I trust society to be supportive of my attempt to deal with my issues. So I'll seek help, I'll seek counseling. Throughout the counseling, I trust myself to deal with my issues. And therefore these Rakshasas they should not be held responsible. In fact, they have the potential to be very good implementers of instruction from their king. And now Vibhishan is the king, so they are going to be wonderful assets for the kingdom. And Hanumanji is like, where do you get all of these? Where does the inspiration come from? So she tells him a story. The story of the bear, the lion, and the man. And the bear's instruction to the lion. But the man may not have realized as of yet the wonderful potential the man has to having a Santa Charitra. I understand that potential. The bear says, I understand that potential. And therefore, I voluntarily choose to imbibe the charitra of a Santa, to imbibe the qualities of a person in goodness. The man has to figure out his own journey. And dear time, you also figure out your own journey in life. So this is real compassion. Compassion that Mother Sita is capable of. She not only gave clemency to all the Rakshasas. Clean check to them. But actually she also protected herself from the unnecessary pain by the retention of all of those memories. It's very beautiful what she is doing. No wonder she is so powerful. Mentally she is so strong. Emotionally she is so strong. Wasn't she the same person who wanted Lord Ram to come and fight with Ravan and defeat him? That is what she had told Hanuman. But circumstances were different then. Circumstances are different now. Previously, she was being held against her wishes. That was not appropriate. Now, Ravana is gone and she is free. And that is how she wants to live her life. With positivity, with trust in herself, being whole and complete, knowing very well, we are like paraphrasing what we should be, implying what could be certain tips that we can take. Knowing very well that the soul is beyond pain and pleasure. It is the body that identifies with all of that. And who better than the Supreme Goddess of Fortune to help us realize that. And therefore Ramayana is simply glorifies Krishna. Sita. Lord Ramachandra gets glorified because he is Sita. And Sita is his energy. She is everything to him. Just as Lord Ram is everything to her. So they are Yugal Sarkar, Sita Ram. There's a beautiful bhajan. You want to sing that bhajan? You don't even know what bhajan it is. Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram kahiye. Want to sing that? Please take the names of Sita and Ram. Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram kahiye. Sitaram, Sitaram, Sitaram kahiye. Sitaram, Sitaram, Sitaram kahiye. Jahi vidhi rakhe Ram, tahi vidhi rahiye. Jahi vidhi rakhe Ram, tahi vidhi rahiye. Jahi vidhi rakhe Ram, tahi vidhi rahiye. Sitaram, Sitaram, Sitaram kahiye. Sitaram, Sitaram, Sitaram kahiye. Jahi vidhi rakhe Ram, tahi vidhi rahiye. Jahi vidhi rakhe Ram, tahi vidhi rahiye. This very moment that we have is the best moment for us to feel complete and happy. Jahi vidhi rakhe Ram, tahi vidhi rahiye. This is where Lord Ram has brought us in our life. It is the most perfect moment to feel complete and happy. All we need to do is find out the means to feel complete and happy. Yes? Jahi vidhi rakhe Ram, tahi vidhi kahiye. Jahi vidhi rakhe Ram, tahi vidhi kahiye. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram जय सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय पुत्र हनुमान जी की जय ब्रज के लाला श्री नंद नंदन भगवान श्री कृष्ण की जय श्री श्री राधे श्याम की जय जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा एनी कमेंट्स क्वेश्चंस No? So we'll stop here.
Probably give a second, maybe somebody will have some questions.
Okay, tick one. Tick one.
I have a question.
Yes.
About the bear and lion story.
Yes.
So if there are, so it's very easy to tell that I will not push the man. He will bear his own. I mean, he will have his own life, like going forward. I mean, what to do? I mean, he gave up. He did not throw the man. But if there are 2-3 men, and considering that these are weak people, and we should ignore the weak people, we should not do harm to the weak people. But if there are 3-4 weak people, they will easily push the bear.
down.
Yeah. So what is the use of what do you call being saintly? Yeah, maybe.
What is the use of?
Yeah, being so much innocent.
Correct.
Yeah. In real
That's-
life also.
that's
in
a very good question.
Today's world also it happens the same.
Very much happens.
Yeah. So what is the use? Because the other people are doing what they want to do, and they suffer. Like we are not doing anything.
Correct.
And we are suffering indirectly.
Right. So the question is that there is a hypothetical situation where it is 4 or 5 men on the tree and a single bear. So if the bear follows the same policy that, hey, I'm not going to push any of the men down, then most probably the men together would push the bear down, isn't it? Well, here we are kind of making a lot of assumptions. Like, seriously, too many assumptions. First of all, we are thinking that just because the bear has a kind heart, the bear doesn't know how to be safe and how to protect itself. That is a big assumption we are making. As long as the bear did not feel threatened by the man, he did not have any intent to push the man down. Which basically means the bear had already worked on himself to become so qualified, saksham. So if our assumption is that 4 or 5 people, then we should also try to have 4 or 5 people with ourselves. The bear should also have 4 or 5 bears with it. Trying to just assume that challenges are going to be insurmountable in terms of 4 or 5 men. Now they have the majority. Trying to imagine that will never ever help us being productive in life. But we can always say that if such a situation arises, what should I do right now? Because it is not there. So I should build a community. Isn't it? And then you never know how time reveals itself. Supposing we are in a situation where there are 4 or 5 men on a tree and there is a single bear. At least the bear would not feel bad that it had. At least the bear can go down thinking that it is time that did it to me. It wasn't my lack of preparations. I had already worked having a community of bears, but somehow time today is that I am alone and 5 men are with me.
Also, bear can think that how Sita thought about her past, and because of the past she is suffering right now, and something when she was in Ashok Vatikas, as you said, Hanuman said it is because of my karma or whatever I did or must have done in the past. I'm
Sita.
suffering right now. Yeah. So similarly, bear will also think that okay, because of my past I am suffering right now.
No. The bear will only think like that if the bear is identifying or is taking inspiration from Sita, will only think that when the bear is free, not when it is under siege. Because remember I mentioned that it was Sita previously that told Hanuman that Lord Rama has to come here, defeat Ravana and free me. So at that time she did not have the same approach in life, right? So when you are under siege, under a challenge, then you have to be prepared to overcome that challenge. And then it could be you call in for alliances, you call in for help. However, when that danger is not there, you do not take out your, what is it called as? Avengeful. You are not avengeful unnecessarily. Because you hurt yourself more by being avengeful. Yes. So yeah, you can watch the Avengers, but don't be avengeful.
Bears are four-legged, Prabhuji. At least you can believe them than two-legged animals, you know. Snakes and two-legged animals are more dangerous.
So the point is, first, one has to be very, very clear in one's perspective. What are the various parameters that we are looking at to analyze things? If we unnecessarily create a situation that could be very, very hypothetical, it's not helpful. All right? Okay. Any other question?
Prabhuji, you mentioned in between while talking that when you do some good work, means you didn't say in the goodness, then you have to throw some light on that. What you meant by that, you know?
I said, typically I was talking about how people understand what is being secular as. Being secular as, see good, do good, like that.
Okay.
And I said that it is very vague when you say see good. You have to be very specific. What is the good that you see? And how are you going to contribute to enhancing that good in people? So that is throwing light on the qualities.
Okay.
So just this approach of, we have to be tolerant and we have to be patient, and if you are always having good thoughts, then the world will be good with you. That is not what the scriptures tell us. The scripture very clearly says that the world will always throw challenges at you. Very clearly. Matra sparshastha kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada. Very clear. Happiness will be thrown at you. Pain, unhappiness, sorrow will also be thrown at you. So I am thinking good, so even if sorrow comes to me, I should think it is good. No. It will only be good if you can work with that sorrow. You have to be capable enough to turn that into something productive. Something that is healthy, something that is helpful for yourself, for oneself, and if possible for society too. So just those words are not helpful. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they find comfort in just see good, do good, be good, and the world will similarly reciprocate with you. It does not.
Yeah, that's true.
Raji, I had another question in the same lines.
Yes.
A lot of times we are in situations where we know that something that is happening to us is not right, and so should we take that as our past karmas, and we should bear it because they could be our past karmas, or we should fight it because we know that maybe back in the time, I might have done something wrong, but this time I'm not wrong and I should be fighting it. So is it, finishing off your bad karma, or starting another karma that?
So the question is that should we just be tolerant and accept blame in the present, or if we understand that I am not to blame, then can we speak up? Did I paraphrase it correctly? What has happened in the past up till now, because that cannot be changed, we'll have to take ownership if that is what it is. If we want to say that we want to take blame for it, and we have to take the blame for it. Basically, taking blame is taking ownership of it. However, how we perform right now has not been created as yet. So how do we even start taking blame for it? Present, unless and until we act, we do something, then it will be created, isn't it? So if it has not been created, why should we take blame? It does not exist. The blame also does not exist. The ownership also does not exist. So if our action is that we speak up against any injustice being done to us, and if it is legally an injustice or it is morally an injustice, and speaking up is what Bhagavad Gita tells you to do. Arjuna wanted to not speak up. He did not want to fight. Because what he considered to be a moral dilemma was actually his confusion. It wasn't a moral dilemma at all. He had to speak up. He had to act. So Krishna helped him do that. So based upon the principles of the Bhagavad Gita, right now, again, the statute is, if it is legally unjust, according to the laws of the land, and if it is morally unjust, according to the moral values that we as a society have, then we should speak up. Is that helpful? You're welcome.
Anybody might ask them any question on Hindi, they can ask. So,
Hindi.
go ahead. Want to speak?
Yes.
What's the question? Right. So, unless anybody has to ask, we can close here.
So we'll stop. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And we would really like to appreciate, I would like to appreciate all of the participation, taking out the time and coming here. And a big thank you to our hosts and everyone who's got prasad. Thank you for being such a wonderful cooperative society. Hare Krishna.
Is this Rohini?